Saturday morning, it's time to kick off the Experts program, and that means our tech expert, Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, is with us here on Power Talk. Luis, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Mark. How are you?
Doing pretty good. So we have a couple of interesting stories to talk about today. First off, we're going to start off with an article out of Neoscope that thousands of patients are waiting to be given the world's first cancer vaccine. This sounds really interesting.
Yeah, this is a result of actually the development of the COVID-19 virus. If you recall, when they started working on a virus or vaccine for the virus, everybody thought it was going to take several years because vaccines are hard to develop and they take a long time. But what the game changer was for the two major vaccines was mRNA, the technology that allowed these vaccines to be developed extremely rapidly. I mean, there's some people controversially would argue that the vaccine should have been done the more traditional way, like Johnson & Johnson eventually did. But that mRNA technology is now being used to develop all sorts of different vaccines. And in particular, there's a lot of excitement around the ability of clinicians to target specific cancers in specific people using DNA and creating essentially vaccines, unique vaccines for a person's own body and the cancer that they have. For most of us who know cancer patients or have had cancer, you know that the treatment is kind of a broad-based radiation, chemo, and it impacts the entire body, and sometimes it doesn't really work as well as we hope, and the side effects are pretty bad in many cases. So this is a way for people to say, okay, well, you have pancreatic cancer. Let's sequence the DNA of that cancer cell, and let's create a vaccine using mRNA technology that's unique to your body, that cancer, so that we can get your body to fight that cancer, recognize that it's a foreign body in your system, and defeat it. And it's showing extremely good results so far.
Wow. So would this be for any type of cancer that someone would have?
That's the goal. They think that they can pretty much treat any form of cancer as long as they can do DNA sequencing and develop the underlying mRNA carrier to be able to force your body to recognize that cancerous cell as an invader. Because that's the thing that makes cancer spread, is that your body doesn't necessarily see it as something that needs to be fought off, like when you get a cold or you get the flu. The reality is that your body does a good job of fighting those things off, but it doesn't do a good job fighting off cancer. And this is a way of training your body to fight the specific cancer that you have, and not just like a generic, oh, you have colorectal cancer, let's give you this particular vaccine. No. Each individual will have their own unique solution to the problem that they have with their body, and it's groundbreaking, quite frankly.
In the year 2020 alone, there were an estimated 930,000 colorectal cancer deaths around the world, and that's one of the most insidious forms of cancer because typically people don't know that they have it until it's too late. Like when it starts bothering you, when you feel something, you're really in bad shape, and that's been one of the real problems with that type of cancer. So these types of vaccines, if the British are successful in developing these and the clinical trials prove that this is a solid thing that'll work really well, this could be a groundbreaking achievement.
Yeah, and the eventual goal is to develop a generic vaccine that can actually prevent any cancer from spreading in the human body. That's a lofty goal, but these scientists that have been working with mRNA technology feel like it's achievable because they think that the way that the vaccine process with mRNA works is so much more efficient and faster, and now they can apply a lot of the AI technology that's becoming prevalent to help them solve the problem. We can't have a radio segment without talking about AI at least once. Sorry.
That's right, not a problem. When does this trial actually start, and how long do they expect for the trial to go?
So it started in England, and it's anybody who wants to participate. Fortunately, you have to be an English citizen to participate, can apply for it, and they expect that this is going to go on for about 5 years. Depending on how successful it is, they may curtail the trial. Sometimes when they have like significant success, they say, hey, we don't need to see it anymore. We can declare victory and start making this available to the public at large. But we'll have to see. So far, that the early indications are that it's going to be very, very successful at not just curing the cancer that somebody has, but preventing it from coming back.
Hey, the next thing I want to talk about with you here is data privacy. And should we be able to demand that big tech pay us for our data? What do you think of that?
That is a very hot topic right now, especially because recently a number of high-profile organizations have sued OpenAI and Google and other folks because these these large language models need to learn someplace. And the way that they learn is that they ingest information that's available on the internet. And they learn about how people talk, they learn about information. But a lot of that information that's out there is proprietary or trademark protected, or quite frankly, shouldn't be used without somebody's permission. So some media companies have sued and have settled these lawsuits. But lost in all that is you and me, because our information, the stuff that we put out there on the internet, whether it's commentary to, a blog post or a social media thing that we put out there, all of that is also being consumed. Yet our data that's training these AIs to be better and be more efficient and therefore providing their creators money is using information that we created, and we're not getting paid anything.
Now, I did notice that Louisiana Senator John Kennedy, no relation to the Kennedys in Massachusetts, he has proposed an Own Your Own Data Act that would grant users property rights to all the data they generate on the internet. Boy, that's one way of solving the problem.
It is. And there's other legislation out there. California is proposing one that would actually create a data dividend that is tax, rather than trying to track the individual data that's being consumed by these large language models, essentially giving them an overall tax and then using that to rebate back to consumers as a whole what they're doing. It's a little bit broader in scope, but I think this is a fight that is going to continue to consume a lot of time and effort, because people are starting to recognize that without the data that we produce, the information that we've created, these large language models couldn't exist. They need us in order to do what they do, and yet we're not benefiting from that.
And I noticed that someone like an actress, Scarlett Johansson, she was suing because they wanted to use her voice as part of an AI program, and I would think that that would be just a clear, cut and dried case of misappropriation of someone's identity if you were able to grab someone's voice and use it in any way that you want to.
Yeah, that one's a clear-cut, easy lawsuit that she's going to win or probably settle, but it's only the first of many. I think that you're going to see other artists, other celebrities whose information is being used without their permission fight back and say, hey, you can't do this. And hopefully, since you and I can't fight the man like that, that will lead to legislation that will make it easier for us who are generating this information that's training these large language models to get paid for it.
All right, that's Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, joining us today. Online, it's alvareztg.com. At AlvarezTG is their Twitter handle. And Luis, the toll-free number for the I-Team.
Give us a call at 866-78-I-Team. That's 866-784-8326.
And looking ahead to Monday, what are we going to be talking about?
Monday, we're going to be talking about a legislation that's being proposed that to dox influencers, that is, reveal who they are. We'll see how far that's going to go.
Join us Monday morning starting at 8:30 right here on Power Talk for our Tech Talks with Luis Alvarez from the Alvarez Technology Group. Luis, thanks so much and have a great weekend.
You too, my friend. Take care.